Richmond today looks completely different than it did 25 years ago. The skyline changed, the population exploded, and housing prices skyrocketed. And thousands upon thousands of condos transformed the city forever. And through almost all of it, there was one man leading Richmond, Mayor Malcolm Brodie. Now, after more than 2 decades as mayor, Brodie has announced he will not be running again, making the end of one of the longest political eras in Richmond history. So today, we're taking a look back at the good, the bad, and the controversial, and how Richmond changed over the past 24 years. Malcolm Brodie became mayor in Richmond in 2021. And since then, he's been re-elected again and again and again and again, becoming the longest serving mayor in Richmond history. Now think about everything that's happened in Richmond since 2001. The Canada Line, 2010 Olympics, massive immigration growth, the transformation of Richmond City Centre, the condo boom, and one of the biggest real estate increases anywhere in Canada. Richmond went from what many people remember as more of a quiet suburban city and into one of the most international connected cities anywhere in Metro Vancouver. If there's one project that completely changed Richmond forever, it was probably the Canada Line. When the Canada Line opened in 2009, it connected Richmond directly to downtown Vancouver and YVR Airport in a way the city had never experienced before. And after that, development exploded. Entire sections of Number 3 Road transformed. Areas around Brighouse, Lansdowne, Aberdeen, Capstan Way started filling with high-rise towers, condos, shopping, restaurants, and transit-focused development. Land values climbed dramatically, and suddenly Richmond wasn't just a suburb anymore. It became one of the major urban city centers in Metro Vancouver. But not everybody loved the change. This is where opinions about Richmond really start to split. Some people believe Richmond evolved into a modern, world-class city with better transit, more restaurants, more culture, and more business and more opportunity. Others feel Richmond lost some of its small-town charm. Critics often point to traffic congestion, overdevelopment, rising home prices, crowded infrastructure, and mega mansions. And honestly, you hear this conversation all the time in Richmond now. People saying, Richmond doesn't feel like Richmond anymore. I get that one a lot. At the same time, the reality is Metro Vancouver's population has continued growing rapidly, and Richmond has been under massive pressure to create more housing. One of the biggest challenges during Brodie's era has been housing affordability. Over the past 2 decades, Richmond home prices increased dramatically. Detached homes that were once considered affordable became out of reach for many families. Even condos and townhomes climbed significantly in price. And as demand increased, the city pushed for more density, more rental housing, affordable housing programs, and transit-oriented developments around the Canada Line. Supporters say these moves were necessary to keep with growth. Critics argue it still wasn't enough, and the affordability continues to be one of Richmond's biggest problems today. One thing Malcolm Brodie consistently pushed for over the years was protecting Richmond's farmland. And honestly, that's one thing that makes Richmond unique. Even with all the development happening in the city center, huge portions of Richmond are still agricultural land, and there's always pressure to develop it. But Richmond has continued focusing much of its density around the city core instead of sprawling it endlessly outward. Whether you agree with every decision or not, preserving farmland has definitely been a major part of Richmond's identity. Another huge moment during Brodie's time as mayor was the 2010 Winter Olympics, and how can you forget it? The Richmond Olympic Oval became one of the city's biggest landmarks and long-term community assets. Today, it's a sports facility, fitness center, community hub, tourism attraction, and a major part of Richmond's waterfront development. Around the Oval, an entirely new neighborhood started emerging. So now, for the first time in more than 2 decades, Richmond is preparing for a future without Malcolm Brodie as mayor. And regardless of where people stand politically, there's no question that Richmond changed dramatically under his leadership. Some people love the direction the city went. Others miss old Richmond, but either way, the next mayor is stepping into one of the biggest transitions the city has ever seen. The questions now become, what should Richmond look like over the next 20 years? Is it more density, more affordability, more transit, more preservation? And honestly, that conversation is probably just getting started. This is Kristen L with Living in Richmond. What do you think about how Richmond has changed over the years? Do you love the direction the city is going? Or do you miss the old Richmond? Drop a comment below. I generally would love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me for more Living in Richmond videos. Bye for now.